this right here is the album. I've been passing it around the audience. Everyone wants to see it. It comes out next week, Tuesday the 31st. The band is Korn. They've sold over 25 million albums around the world. They're in the building. Gentlemen, come on in. Davis, how you doing, man?
What's up, man?
Billy.
What's up, guys?
What's happening?
Thanks for coming through.
Hey.
Thanks for coming through.
How you doing?
Gentlemen, first and foremost, how you guys doing?
Really good.
I can imagine. The album sounds great. I might not look like a typical fan, but I really enjoy the album. I guess the first thing, the most obvious question is, why did you guys decide to leave this album untitled?
It was, I don't know, we were kicking titles around and it just seemed pretty forced. We felt like we didn't want to put a timestamp on it. When you put when you do an album and you have a title on it, it usually represents a certain place and time. All these things were going on. Plus, a lot of people were telling us you have to title it. So the way we are, we're like, no, we don't, and we just didn't do it.
Anti-conformity.
Exactly.
Now, here's the thing: did you guys have any potential titles in mind before you decided not to get one?
Not really, did we? Nothing.
None worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Now, Davis, you said this album was largely about growing up as a band and expanding your minds up. And I was wondering how so, and how did you guys approach the creative process of putting this album together? Yeah. We're coming out.
Well, I'm sorry, what was the question? Go ahead.
Davis had said this album was largely about growing up as a band and opening your minds up. And I was wondering how so, and what was the creative process like putting this album together?
I think, writing with our keyboard player, Zach Baird, was, really contributed to that factor. And also jamming with Terry Bozzio, who, if anybody doesn't know, is one of the most phenomenal drummers in the world. And he really got us to experiment with different timings, and it was just a growing experience creatively, and I think on an intellectual level of creating music as well.
Speaking of that, what's the biggest thing, sir, you've noticed amongst the band in terms of growing over the past 2 years?
We all have more kids.
Yeah.
The families are growing. And speaking about Terry playing on the drums, this is the first time you actually recorded some studio drums on this album, correct?
I've done some before.
Since Issues, though, right?
Yeah,
this is your first time since Issues. Now, what was that like for you? Because obviously he's one of the greatest drummers. Was it a little nerve-wracking for you at all?
No, I just went out there. We had these other songs, and Atticus, the producers, I'll go out there and play some drums because we need drums on them. And I was just biting at the bit because I love playing drums so much, and I was building up my drum set and doing all this stuff. And I went out there and just played some stuff, and it ended up making the record, and I was stoked. Man.
Okay, nice. Now, speaking about yourself playing the drums, you brought the bagpipes back. You guys did start a relationship with the Matrix. They didn't work out, which are predominantly known for producing pop albums. I'm wondering, what made you guys so willing to experiment on this album?
Experimenting is really, really just, for us as musicians, what we like doing. We don't like putting out the same record. We got to challenge ourselves to do something different each time, because if we don't, it's like painting the same picture over and over again. It gets boring and it's not fun. So it's about pushing the boundaries and just creating and writing music, really.
Philly, was it tough, do you think, as a band to get out of the mind frame and push yourselves, though? Do you think fans have an idea of what they expect from Korn these days, or do you think they always, with every additional record, think, what are they going to do? What's going to happen?
I think this time we were inspired because of the situation that happened and bringing in new musicians, and, we weren't ready to quit. So it was actually inspirational for us and pushed us harder to put out this, new Korn album, and it's all good.
When situations like that happen, you think this is the closest the band has ever been in light of that?
Any situation happens is going to push us in a different direction. It makes us work harder. When the odds are stacked against us, everything. Any time in the band like that, we bond together and pull it off.
Are you guys comfortable talking about his departure and about that as a band? If I ask some questions about that?
Yeah, man, that's
Yeah,
okay.
because the thing is, metal is one of those genres that's known as being very anti-conformity. And I would say Korn is obviously on the front lines of that genre, having sold 25 million albums all over the world. And when his departure for the band, he made some comments about this band being the opposite, about monetary gains and whatnot, which obviously being passionate musicians must have really hurt you guys. I'm wondering how you deal with those comments and how do you respond to those kind of things?
You know, it was like any kind of, you know, being in a band is like a marriage.
Yeah.
It was going through a divorce. He's going to say bad stuff about us. We're going to go back. There's feelings involved. We've been playing with the guy for, you know, almost 14 years. All that stuff was just empty stuff, and we love him dearly, and he apologized, I've apologized, and we've moved on.